we go, ladies and gentlemen. Starting it off to the top right of the map is the player for Team MVP. He already lost his first match today in the up and downs. He lost to Mana. Yes.
MVP King.
And to the bottom left of the map, we have Keen's opponent. It's his first appearance today. The Terran in the blue. Starting for NS Hoso, it is
NS Hoso jjakji.
jjakji wearing the pin, saying he's a GSL champion, and he is.
Yeah, he definitely is. He's a player who's shown also in the team league that he can really come through for his team. On the other hand, of course, since he had this GSL championship, he fell a little bit off the radar when it comes down to like championships results, just tournament wins in general. Not completely, but when okay, let's just specify a little bit more when it comes down to the offline appearances.
Yes, of course. And Keen, I think, could be named the most inconsistent programmer of all time, but when he is good, he's really good. And his game against Mana, he looked quite good. Mana just with a perfectly executed strategy. Keen misreading him a few times in the game as well, especially with his opening, had to sink a lot of resources into being defensive, was not as aggressive as he could have been. And now, Keen is down a game, as you mentioned, which is so critical here.
I had a look on Keen's results in Terran vs Terran a little bit earlier. It was one of the matchups where he was struggling for a while, then he suddenly had a phase that lasted, say, 5-6 weeks, where he was really strong. He beat so many players. For example, he met Paul several times, and Paul didn't stand a chance against him. Keen, with aggressive play, just took the games very early and looked super dominant. But just in the past few weeks, Keen once again in the Terra Miro matchup, a little bit inconsistent. He had a few wins, but most of the games that he played, most of the best of threes, he actually lost. So that's definitely something that completely basically underlines what you just said. That Keen is a player who can bring a level of play that is just magnificent, but then another day he will just, I don't want to say fall apart, but underperform.
Yeah.
Double gas, by Keen, by the way.
Yeah, double gassing in the main base very quickly. jjakji has seen the command center, but his is way later, and we'll see if he decides to go for his double gas as well.
Keen really likes to be a little bit more aggressive, which is something that we pointed out already, but it's just shown by Keen here with the double gas that he wants to go for a very fast tech as well. Denies the SCV of getting into the main base with the lift at the supply depot. Marine.
That was pretty. Yeah, you know that's pretty cool though. That jjakji actually was like, well, maybe I get in here, and if he hadn't lifted that depot, he probably would have gotten by the Marine. Maybe saw the gas, and he still got out and saved it. That's just the little thing that you can do to catch your opponent off guard.
And here is already the factory for Keen, whereas jjakji is getting a second command center. And this already, I mean, just look at the timings here. Keen is building the factory, whereas jjakji hasn't even started yet to build his refineries.
Yeah, then this is actually a really scary position in this matchup. It's extremely risky to do this because you have no Banshee defense really. What if your opponent goes for a quick drop play to follow up his command center? That can put you behind oftentimes. And having the third command center in this matchup doesn't give you any gas for a while, so it's kind of hard to actually make this work. We'll see what jjakji's follow-up plan is.
And jjakji so far did not build a refinery still.
Yeah.
We have the factory now done for Keen. And he definitely has enough gas not only to build the starport, but at the same time also to just harvest a few additional gas, a little bit of additional gas for the cloak. So Keen has a pretty cool opening here. jjakji is now getting the double refinery, but Keen is way ahead in tech.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious to see what Keen's going to do. I think he's just going to follow us up with a normal Banshee play, but he has not added the tech lab for his starport yet.
The thing is that Keen obviously doesn't know about what's going on. He has the tech lab now at the factory, so with the starport that he's currently building, he can start with a cloak upgrade right away as soon as it started. If you just have a quick look at the gas, he's now nearing 300, so he can start both.
And, something about the Banshee type play that we're going to see from Keen is not only can it be damaging, but it also is going to allow him to scout what's going on.
He really wants to scout. Keen really wants to make this happen. I mean, he sees all those Marines and he decides to sneak past them to get the information. Not able to get into the main base, though.
Fast siege tank.
Yeah, Keen is not going for the switch. No, he's going for siege tanks in siege mode.
I feel he knows what's going on. He saw the Marine count and he's like, nah, this is not right. And he's actually, well, you know, I think he could hit a timing here because his opponent's not going to have siege mode anywhere near it. He's not going to be able to have medevacs out to go for a counter drop. He might just attack aggressively here. His opponent, though, jjakji, is getting double E-base. He wants to go for the late game here, of course. Secondly, indicated by his third command center.
Yeah, with the build that he chose, he's taking a few risks, and he's really trying to focus on his economy first before his upgrades and everything will kick in. But Keen is now already moving out. He has the first force ready and is moving out right away with the first siege tank. His siege mode is lining up nicely. The second siege tank will be on the move very soon. And he builds now a Viking so that he has not only the high ground vision, but also, of course, makes sure of the whole range of his siege tanks and has the air dominance.
And this push actually is jjakji is expecting it right into the main, and this
jjakji is expecting Banshees.
Yeah, he's got everything set with the Marines in the main, turrets as well. He knows that something could attack him by air, and he actually unloads from the bunker for a second. Here's the fast siege. This is going to become a problem. This is a nice, cool pressure move by Keen. This is not an all-in, but it's just a little timing attack that punishes somebody who has late siege tech.
And there are more siege tanks now rolling towards jjakji's main base, so the more there are, the better for Keen, a good position for him to be in. And jjakji is trying to catch up in tech, but
he's actually
just started. He's just moving in.
He's trying to get that bunker, but he's not quite able to. But now he's got the second siege tank. Tries to get the salvage turret, unsuccessful. The Marines are actually forcing the SCVs to be pulled, and he wants to go when the tank's on siege. Does he decide to break out? No, he's going to surrender his ramp. Hesitation here a lot by jjakji.
Well done by Keen, slowly and steadily, just sieging forward with the siege tanks. Now one again is in position. The bunker is gone, number 2, and now he is really pressured at his stack base.
He may end up dying here. He's not able to respond. The Viking is now out, which gives him a little bit more vision on the high ground, also denies his opponent's Viking. Keen even with the bunker here, and this triggers the attack. Stim is done. He comes through here, but there's 3 siege tanks.
3 siege tanks, that's way too much. He might be able to clear it up, but on the other hand, no, it doesn't even look like he's able to crush the first force. And the second wave would probably have taken jjakji down anyway. He lost way too many SCVs here. He lost 33 harvesters, and Keen is now nearly tripling his supply.
Yeah, and almost nearly tripling his worker supply as well. He's got no real units on the map. He will lose this command center as he does not lift in time. Well, he doesn't have any siege tanks at the top of the ramp to help him out with this, but he does save it just barely. But the problem is Keen is still at the ramp. He's going to siege up that very important location, forcing his opponent to use medevacs to leave the base. Otherwise, he's going to eat a ton of siege tank fire. And he's going right for combat shields here. He's going to force a cancel.
Yeah, the combat shield is gone as the tech lab dies, and now the siege tank's still in good position. And of course, the one thing to remember here is that Keen is still on 2 bases. This guy is now teching. He's going for stim. He's going for combat shield simultaneously. He's taking down supply depots at the bottom left.
And
more harvesters are dying.
He runs down the ramp, eating a ton of siege tank fire here. Some hesitation, a ton more SCVs go down, and jjakji now he's dead, man. He's got no follow-up here. Keen stopped rallying long ago. His second wave of units never intended to attack. His third command center is finishing. You know, he's lacking a few upgrades, for example, 1-1. He doesn't have, his stim and combat shields are just now finishing as well. But as soon as all these upgrades line up, he can actually just go for a second attack. It looks like he's not even going to wait.
It is Keen's game to lose at this point. He's moving out with an army that is way stronger than jjakji's. And of course, we have now also the superior tank count for the MVP player, 4-2-2. And the SCVs alone tell the tale.
Yeah, 64-23 right now. And Keen is going to have to be careful with how he attacks this, but he doesn't have to be that careful.
And Keen has a 3rd base now. It's not like the guy suddenly decided that he has to play the entire game on 2 bases. He built the 3rd, and we have 2 missile turrets in the main base that will help him a little bit against the drop play that jjakji is now trying to pull off.
And he's actually just going to go for elevator tactics on the side here, using the siege tanks. The trajectory of the drop is right for the missile turret. And he does not react initially here. Oh, he's going to lose everything in the drop. 3 Marines emerge.
Even with the SCVs, he could just kill them.
Yep.
But he has to do something. There come the rest of the Marines to defend at the same time. The main base of jjakji is now under siege. The missile turret taking down one of the medivacs, but so many SCVs already dying, and the siege tanks covering them.
Yep. And the second medivac does get taken out, but you're so right. The siege tanks are the bigger issue here. And he's just working on this refinery with his tanks. As you mentioned, the Marines in the main cleaned up the drop that jjakji went for. Now he's in an uncomfortable position. He does clean up the rest of these units, but now Keen can actually just attack at the low ground if he wants to. He's got a huge second army back at home he's not even using right now.
Moving in with the siege tanks now. Yeah, he has to siege and unsiege and just move back here, Keen that is. But on the other hand, he has 3 bases right now against 2. jjakji still ahead in the overall upgrades, just by a tiny little bit, as long as Keen starts +2/+2 when the armory upgrade, the armory is actually done. But still, the situation for the MVP Terran is still a great one. He's moving in now, taking down one of the siege tanks.
It's gone, and he splits the Marines away.
GG. jjakji realizing that there's no comeback for him.
Yeah, Keen ties his score 1-1, putting him at a better position in the group. Pretty tough to come out of the group unscathed, so it's not going to be feeling, too bad about that -1 right now. And jjakji finds himself 0-1. His next match is going to be quite important, and he will actually face Bomber next.
Exactly, and our next match here is going to be between the 2 winners that we had so far, between Hyun and Mana. Our Zerg versus Protoss. That's what we are going to see next, but I think first of all we're going to have a quick break.
Yeah, I believe so. Mana, obviously this is the only Zerg he's going to have to face, so he's prepared, I'm sure, a good strategy for this map, and we'll get to talk about that in a little bit later. But tell everyone, the season has started, okay? Get everybody in on this, because
it's actually so cool at the down matches again. It's all once again just calculating, okay, how many wins do I have? How many does my opponent have? What about the direct comparison?
I can't wait until later when he just... he starts talking and looking at this paper on his face.
Everything
you can see,
already here.
It just says scanning on your forehead or something, and I look at the camera like.
Well, there's actually enough space to write it there, so it's fine.
Well, I guess so, yeah. Maybe I'd like to stamp it though, if I had the choice.
Stamp it?
Yeah, stamp it like that.
No, that sounds like it hurts.
No,
we're not gonna do that.
Lightly with a soft stamp.
Okay.
I would use a nice one. I wouldn't hurt you with it.
I hope so. Alright guys, we are of course back after a 5-minute break. Then we will see who comes out with 2 wins and 0 losses in the match between Mana and Hyun. This is the GSL Up and Downs Group A, casted by Cullen Wolf.